All right, guys. Phenomenal morning, phenomenal morning. Listen, guys, 12 days. 12 days. Bobby Jackson, how you feeling, brother? We got 12 days, man. 12 days of 2023.
Yeah, I'm feeling like a chess master.
Okay.
Feeling like a chess master. Um, I learned the game of chess early on. I wouldn't say early. I was a young teenager, and I learned it from a technical level. So I first learned to play the game by just playing, and then I learned the actual technical aspect of playing the game. And today I feel a bit of a queen's gambit. And those that know about chess, a gambit or the word gambit means an initiation entailing risk. So you have the queen's gambit, which is a sacrifice of the queen's pawn, and then you have the king's gambit, which is a sacrifice of the king's pawn, both for the sake of control of the center of the board, which is where everything goes down. And I was thinking in the analogies the way I always do. And I said to myself, if I had to create a gambit, if I had to risk something in order to take control of something else, what would that look like? And I looked over 2023 and I was like, I've been in a king's gambit. I had to sacrifice the pawn, which is the ego, which is some money, investments from time to time. It's a pawn in the grand scheme of things. But when everything unfolds and the exchanges begin to take place, if you're positioned properly in the center of the board, when it all falls down, you have the better angle, you have better control, you have better positioning on the board. And that's how I feel. I feel like I ran a king's gambit this year. I think some of you
Very
all feel
good.
the same.
Very good. Very good. It's funny because, you guys, everybody remembers what I do in the morning, right? Sales training, right? So on this sales training, it's very interesting because it was more esoteric. It was more spiritual. I always say business is a spiritual game, and a lot of people don't get it. I promise you, a lot of people don't get it, but it was the sacrificial piece, right? It was the sacrificing the pieces that you hold most dear. A lot of people playing chess will say, no, I can't lose the bishop. I like the horse, can't lose the horse. Ooh, that's a rook. I don't want to lose the rook. I can't lose the castle. So they'll save the castle, but sacrifice the king.
Mm.
Yeah, they'll save the bishop, but sacrifice the queen. And it's like, seriously? Guys, you aren't willing to give up sleep for $1 million?
Wow.
Are you serious? Are you are you serious? You're not going to sacrifice 5 figures to go to 6 and 7? Because most people hold and they covet that which is most important for them to sacrifice. Right? They don't want to write the book because the book going to take, oh God, I got to sleep. I can't write the book. I got to party. It's Friday night. I need my Fridays. I need my Fridays. I need my Fridays. No, you don't need the Fridays. The Fridays are they're gonna terrorize your future. What you need to do is you need to focus and you need to get something done. Completion. Completion is everything. It's called sacrificing the immediate for the long term. CEOs, true business executives, have huge long range vision. Inside the leadership leverage, so I'll take you on a trip real quick before we go to the first break. Inside the leadership leverage yesterday, we just did a huge goal setting exercise. Huge goal setting exercise. But I also want you to think that when we set 1 year goals, we also set 5 year goals, 10-year goals, and 20-year goals. Does anybody have 20-year vision? Anybody here have 20-year vision? If you do, put it in the chat. If you've got 20-year vision, what is your 20-year vision? So what is your 2044 vision? We'll be right back. This is the Breakfast with the Brand. Let's grow. There's slow growth and then there's scale. There's incremental growth, and then there's exponential growth. What I want to talk to you about is adding a zero to you and experiencing exponential scale. Incremental growth says 1 + 1 is 2. Exponential growth says 1 + 0 is 10. Incremental growth says 2 + 2 is 4. Exponential growth says 5 + 0 is 50. Guys, listen, when you add a zero to you, you can add a zero to the marketplace. You can add a zero to the value that you bring. So you can add a zero to your family, add a zero to your legacy. This is what we're talking about. We're not talking about incremental, we're talking about exponential. I always say that business is a spiritual game. Just imagine when you combine your skills, your values, your abilities, your talents to something bigger than you, something greater than you, something like the power of exponential. That is adding a zero. Add a zero to your competence, add a zero to your confidence. This is about adding a zero in your life, your value, your industry, and your mission. Let's grow. The reason why I did this and what I do is help leaders to become brands and brand themselves. You train people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. I teach authenticity marketing. If people can take advantage of you, they will in your personal or professional existence.
My biggest takeaways just from day one is you are the brand. I would recommend it to anybody that's really looking to build a personal brand.
Just the brand in general has changed my life. I've grown so much since I've been a part of this.
I see myself in what he does, and I believe in it just as much as I believe in myself.
Confidence is key. Most of the people I work with, they have the education, the experience, and the expertise. We call those the 3 E's. But they're looking for the 3 I's, the income, the impact, and the independence. And I always tell them that the bridge between the 3 E's and the 3 I's is marrying your confidence to your competence. Most of the people I work with, again, have all of the competence in the world. What I help them do is get the confidence. What is your confidence level in 2024? Listen, guys, I asked a question. I said, how many people have visions for what 2044 looks like? And we didn't get a lot of responses, right? We got two, right? So we got 2 people giving responses, but I want it to be more defined, Jordan, so much more definitive. Right, so here's his tears. Right, we want more definition, and we want bigger. So this is 2044, not 24. Think as a futurist. What really is possible? What generational legacy is possible if we accomplish every single year, one after the other? What are you building? What are you building? That's all. I just want you to think bigger. Think of, and I know there's a lot of stress, right? There's like, oh my God, we got a couple days until the big C. What are we gonna do? The money isn't right. The client, like there's a lot going on. There's a lot of distractions pulling you away from what's possible. There's a lot of distractions pulling you away from what's possible right now. If you're able to focus and you're able to concentrate, these next few days, these next few weeks, months, and years can create phenomenal change for you, for your family, and for your business.
Yeah, this is, I'm feeling one of those feelings that I get when I want to go deep. So I'm being mindful of this now, guys. when I feel that feeling, I check myself. I'm like, okay, how can I give it to the people in a way that they can appreciate it? So
stay grounded.
Right? Stay grounded.
Stay grounded. Go ahead.
Stay grounded. Plant that flag. Plant that flag. I was talking to a phenomenal client yesterday, and we were talking about how to be a man, so to speak. Now, this works for women too, in business at least, but me and him personally, we're just talking about manhood. But what this has to do with 2024 is the analogy that I gave him, because it's one that I had to learn to like really lean into this year, and it transformed my business. I told him, if you are in a relationship, you love the person, you're grinding, you're building, and you are committed, you're gonna have to learn to be the son. And the part that I was gonna go deep into, that I'm not gonna go deep into, is general relativity, theory of relativity. We're not gonna go in there, but that's what my thought was, but we're not gonna go there. However, how it works is like this. The sun is massive, it's huge. So because it's so big, it's got this gravitational pull, you know, it orders things around it. Now, the interesting thing about the sun is it doesn't really care about the different temperatures on the various planets that orbit it. It doesn't really care about what the people on planet Earth are doing. It's just being the sun. And a lot of us, I'll speak about myself sometimes, we can like to give up our responsibility as the sun. The sun has one main responsibility, and that's to burn and shine. It's your only responsibility as the sun, is to burn and to shine. So as a business owner, as a man, as a spouse, a wife, or a parent, like, you're the sun. And when we don't do our jobs right, when we're not in communities, this is how I looked at leadership leverage, because I was telling him everything, like my entire experience. So inside of leadership leverage, I went from leadership leverage to HPC, up and up and up. And what that experience was like was, it was like me getting hotter. It was like I was getting bigger. And like the bigger I got, the hotter I got, the more flame. And this is competencies, ladies and gentlemen, competencies. The more educated you get, the more confidence you get, the more you burn, the more I started working out in ways I never worked out in a long time. So I'm like, I'm looking different, I'm feeling different. And what happened was my mass increased. And when my mass increased, I was able to order more things. I could keep more things in rotation. More things were dependent on me. And when we're trying to scale our lives, our businesses, our families, our wealth, I saw that was one of the things in the chat, you know, think about yourself as being the sun. How are you a planet right now? What are you revolving around? Are you revolving around Netflix? Are you revolving around social media? Revolving around, you know, television, whatever it is? Like, are you a planet complaining as a human being on your little dot? Like, you're a dot, you're a billionth of a billion. Or are you the sun ordering things around you?
I love it. He said, are you revolving around Netflix? Let me tell you something. Netflix does not have a success plan for you. That I can guarantee you. Netflix will not take you where you need to go in 2024. Leave it in 2023. Leave it in 2023, guys. Like, just do that, right? So everybody laughs when I tell this story, right? I would tell this story like my children growing up would be asleep in the bed like 16 because they're going through the growing pains, so to say, right? They're like, oh, they're growing. You need to let them rest. So they'd find themselves in bed after school, 4 o'clock, and I'd come kick their bed like a warden and say, get out of here. Like, what do you mean? Get out of the bed. As a matter of fact, get out of the house. Like, find something productive to do with yourself. Get out of my face. Like, I want you to produce. I want you to go forth and conquer, go forth and dominate. Find something. Find a gym, find the basketball court, find the chess club, find something to dominate, but you cannot stay here. Because what's going to happen is you're going to come to me like 8 o'clock talking about I'm hungry. And I'm going to say, okay, show me the fruits of your labor. Show me the calories that you've burned to be hungry. Like, you got to earn that stuff where I come from. Like, you don't just get hungry. Like, no, so you want to consume. You just want to consume and you don't want to produce. Listen, I teach business the same way. I tell people all the time, like, you come to the calls, you learn more information. Look at the Breakfast with the Brand. You come to the calls, you learn more information. At some point, it's time for you to go forth and produce. Yeah, I'll tell you. As a matter of fact, I'll shut it down if I see people are becoming dependent and not productive, because I'm not here to be a crutch. I'm not here to be anybody's crutch. So I don't want to give you something to lean on if you're not trying to stand. Please understand me. If you're trying to stand, then I can assist you for a small amount of time, but crutches are not meant to become permanent. Crutches are not meant to become permanent, because the same thing that can help you can ultimately cripple you permanently. And what I see is a lot of people becoming dependent upon their crutch and making the crutch a third leg. So they can't walk without it. They can't move without it. And that's why I made the statement, like I always make the statement, that you might be motivated, but this is not meant to be a motivational morning. This is meant to be like a mindset morning. So you can go forth and conquer and dominate the day. And if I don't look and see that in the people that come here and the people that watch, if I see not like inconsistency throughout the day, or I see the same thing when you started coming to the Breakfast with the Brand a year ago to today, after being around this orbit for a year, we're going to banish you. You have to be productive. You cannot consistently stay the same as the world turns. You have to be a different person in 2024 than 2023. You have to evolve and not revolve. I love what Bob, yeah. See, I'm picking up what's being put down, guys. You have to evolve instead of just revolve. Now, if you're a phenomenal applicant, when I say applicant, I mean a person who applies what you're learning. If you're a phenomenal applicant like Bobby, then you can go from one program to the next program to the next program, because every program that you take is adding a zero to your number. So you're going from 4 figures to 5, from 5 figures to 6. As you go from program to program, you're growing, you're learning more, you're investing more of yourself into the marketplace, because it's not about so much about your time here during this morning. It's about what you do after this call here in the morning. That's what I want you to think about. How are you going to go forth and use what you learned here to create revenue in the marketplace, transformation and transactions in the marketplace? Make the magic happen. Don't just be motivated. Get the right mindset to actually make something move. That's what we're talking about. And when you become heavy and you become serious and you become concentrated and you become focused, you'll stop revolving and other things will begin to revolve around you, and you'll become the center of the universe. It's very important that you know yourself to the highest degree possible, because it's through knowing ourselves that we're able to know other people. You are the most important person in the room, and the better that you know yourself, the better that you're able to communicate to others. So you're not only playing the game knowing who you are, but you're also playing the game knowing who everyone else is, so that you're not playing blind.
He's extremely engaging with people. He has a fantastic smile, and he's just a very high energy person.
This is called leadership development. So we have to be independently knowledgeable and considerate to know who we are, so we can more effectively know who other people are. As the leader, it's your responsibility to allocate resources in the right places. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, you're losing the battle. I said Sean Ra'is. I'm proud. I said Sean Ra'is. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back. 20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary.
Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes. So when you're young, mommy tells you to play nice. Play nice, Timmy. Let all of the other kids play too. But in business, it's not about playing nice. In business, it's about winning. It's about adding multiple zeros to your revenue. Now, of course, your staff wins. And when you win, other people win. However, when it comes to competition, you absolutely must dominate. You can't play for participation, and you can't play just to get along or just to get by, because business is serious. Business will help you to change the world, or the world will change you. Your people will either win or your people will lose based on your level of leadership, what you're willing to do, what you're willing to sacrifice, and how much you know about dominating. So, based on this planetary concept and this conversation that we're having, and you being the brand and the center of attraction, the only viable option in your vertical, I want to introduce a concept to you. Market gravity. Market gravity. You know what gravity does? Gravity holds things down. Gravity attracts. Gravity pulls. Pull marketing as opposed to push marketing. If you don't have market gravity, that means that you're not attracting. You're not pulling. You're not magnetic. As a matter of fact, you ever held two magnets together, Bobby?
I have.
You ever held two magnets together and tried to, when you try to push the two together and they won't connect, they just keep repulsing each other and they refuse to hold tight. So watch this. You're either pulling people to you or you're pushing them away from you. You're either attracting people or you're repelling and repulsing people away from you based on your positioning and based on your market gravity. Because if you don't do it right, then you can actually create the opposite of your desired effect.
Yeah. I was writing something down on the break as I was just thinking about what really caused my growth to start exponentially compounding. Because when we say add a zero, guys, I literally added a zero to the whole number multiple times, year after year after year. So this is no exaggeration, none whatsoever. So I want to share with you guys an insight about real growth from an exponential standpoint, as far as how it happened for me. So I've noticed, and I am now convinced, that real growth comes from detail. It comes from detail. And what I wrote down was something I learned in the military. I look great because nothing is mediocre about my appearance. Hear that again, ladies and gentlemen. I look great because there's nothing mediocre about my appearance. Now, when this comes to branding, and I'm going to tie this all together with the military analogy piece, but when it comes to branding and positioning and putting yourself properly out there, if you have mediocrity in any aspect of your brand, it makes everything else look bad. Like if you look like $1 million, but you sound like a 2-year-old, it's like you make everything else look bad. If you talk like a Harvard graduate, but you have tomato sauce on your blouse, it's like, what are you? Who are you? Like, what are you doing? So here's something that we learn in the military that I think a lot of you will find very interesting, which is why I think we should end this year with a plan to get granular. My personal belief, my personal strategy henceforth is always going to the next year with granularity. What do I understand now and how can I get more granular? And that's just something that I've learned to adopt. But here's the analogy. How long does it take for a recruit to get dressed? So a recruit is someone that is joined the military. They've been in the military for a while and now they're getting ready to do their uniform inspection. It takes a recruit 2 days to get dressed. You heard me right. 2 days, and I'm about to break it down. It takes 2 days because of the level of detail that goes into wearing the United States Marine Corps uniform correctly. We have things called EGAs, Eagle Globes and Anchors, that sit on your collar, but they can be faced either left or right. You put it on improperly, you're out of regulation. We have measurements for how long our belt loop can be from gid line to center pocket. If you are 1/8 of an inch off, I said 1/8 of an inch, you're out of regulation. When we get inspected, they pulling out the measuring tape. Out of here. You're wrong. You're off. When we go and we are ironing our clothes, everything that we have is fitted. So anybody that knows anything about taking your clothes to a seamstress, there's these things that we call Irish pendants. This is when there is thread that wasn't completely threaded and it wasn't completely tightened up. What we are taught to do is take lighters and singe the edge of a thread until it no longer exists. And then we cinch it right down to the point where you cannot see it. So when I am inspected, that's just the uniform. I cannot have any hair near the orifice of my ear. I cannot have any facial hair on my face. My fingernails have to be clipped to a certain length. Everything about me has to be superior. And I wanted to use that example because when we get into business, sometimes we might be the recruit and there's nothing wrong with it because you got through boot camp. Like if you get to get dressed, if you get to put the uniform on or even take pride in assembling your uniform, that means you left the workforce or you're in the process of. That means you've developed the expertise, the education, and the experience. You did the work, like you went through phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and now you're at the phase where I'm scaling. I'm ready to explode this business. I'm ready to go on trips out of the country. Like you did it. Like you got far enough. But before we can take the passport, get the plane tickets, do all of these different things, now we just got to get the details right. So I just wanted to share that with you as you go into 2024 is you look good. You did good. You worked hard. Now make sure that every aspect of your business is top notch, tightened up. No, what do they say? Above reproach. They cannot say anything about it. That was my piece for just granularity, guys. Something I've learned about explosive and exponential growth.
Absolutely phenomenal, man. So one hair out of place, you're out of here.
Out of here.
Out of here. You know what I say? I say that it takes 20 seconds to take away what it took 20 years to build. So you can be phenomenal for 20 years. One flaw can leave you exposed and eradicate everything that you built in 20 years in 20 seconds. And we see this over and over again with phenomenal businesses and businesses that grew people revenue for a long time, multiple years. One small flaw, one mistake eradicates everything and demonizes the CEO or the entire organization and corporation. So something that we taught in Branded Like a Leader is change your attire to match your desire. So I just want you to think right now, like, how are you adorned? Seriously, like, how are you positioned? How are you decored? How are you dressed to dominate your day? Does your dress code represent domination, sophistication, high ticket, luxury, expensive, quality? Because a lot of times what we're trying to do is we're trying to extract what we're not inputting. We want to extract from the marketplace that which and it takes us back to the beginning of the conversation. It takes us back to sacrifice. Because to pay that much attention to detail means you have to focus and concentrate and have discipline and have focus and really pay attention, which is sacrifice, which people are not willing to invest. People aren't willing to invest attention. And then based on the attention and based on the quality of the content that you receive, what is your next investment? Do you invest enough to apply what you learn? Because some people who come into a course pay $10,000. Hear the instructions on doing something, but not invest the time that it takes to do it. They'll invest the 10K, 20K, 50K. How many of you got a bachelor's degree that means nothing to you? How many of you have a college degree that you're not utilizing right now to the highest degree possible? MBA, 50K. Easy, right? Right? So you'll invest $50,000 in something, but then turn around and not do what the instructions. You paid for access. You paid for access to the keys to success, but you chose not to implement them. And you said, you know what? I'm going to go the other way because it's less resistance over here. Looking for the comfort zone. You say, well, I know contextually I know in content what should happen, but I know in context, I'm not going to do that. Like I'm just not. I'm not going to write the book. Yeah, that's what it says. 10 pages a day. You know what I told people yesterday? And I want everybody to get this because I guarantee you this is $1 million gift right here. I don't think you heard me. I'm going to say it, but I can almost guarantee that nobody does it because it'll change your life. And it's so simple. Success is so simple, guys. It's so simple that everybody on this call gonna miss it. They're gonna be like, oh, well, I didn't pay $10,000 to come here, so I'm not gonna pay attention. If you write 1 page a day, you'll be able to put out 1 book a year. If you write 2 pages a day, you'll be able to put out 2 books a year. If you write 3 pages a day, you'll be able to put out 3 books a year. And not small books. Not small books. Big books. 300 plus page books. How many days are there in a year? That's right. If you write 1 page a day, you'll be able to put out 1 of these a year. If you write 2 pages a day, you'll be able to put out 2 of these a year. If you put out 3, if you can focus and discipline and say, you know what, I'm going to change my life. I'm going to change my business. 2024 is the year. And you write 4 pages a day. You can produce 4 of these in a year. So for all of you with books inside of you and these grandeur delusions of shifting and changing your family's legacy on this planet, if you want to make $1 more in your business or in your life, and you're not putting out the single thing that will change you from a consumer to a producer, and what will position you as a thought leader for the rest of your life and the rest of your business and differentiate you from everybody who's providing the services that you provide, but they do not have a book. Shame. Shame. Because it's that easy. 1 page a day, 365-page book. Now, in Branded Like a Leader, we're a little bit extra. In the Leadership Leverage, we're extremely extra. So I taught 10 pages a day, 300-page book in 1 month, which means, yes, you heard me correctly. Yes, you heard me correctly. 10 pages a day. If you can do 10 pages a day, you can do 12 300-page books a year. It becomes a degree of intensity. Imagine that, Bobby. Imagine somebody really going in and having 36 books in a year, in 3 years, 3-year span. But watch this. Time compounds. Energy compounds. Imagine someone going 1/10 of that energy and having 10 books done in a 10-year span. You got to weigh yourself, man. You really have to weigh yourself and say, how bad do I really want it? What are you giving your time to? And is what you're giving your time to giving you value in return? We said something about Netflix. I think you might want to make a shift this year. 2024 might be the year for you to just put down meaningless subscriptions and pick up some meaningful opportunities and meaningful activities. We'll be right back. This is the Breakfast with the Brand. This is not something that you have to do, but it's something that you should do if you really want to change the course of your life and the course of your business and your family's legacy. Business is like a game of chess. It's not checkers. If you don't know how to lead with a personal brand, then you're losing the battle.
Everything about Sean's talk was fantastic. I mean, I got so much from it.
So he was really bringing fire and passion and just love and spirit to let everybody else know how do you become a leader amongst the leaders.
You hold the key in your hand. There is more power in this phone than there was that took the first man to the moon.
His energy, his dynamic information, gave a really great presentation.
I didn't ask for any money. I didn't have an offer. I had a heart to help people and meet them where they were at and find their need and fulfill it.
Sean is the bomb.
I don't talk theory. I don't talk hyperbole. I don't talk opinion. Nothing I talk is anything but evidence-based.
During the G-Circle retreat in Atlanta, I had the pleasure and the honor of listening to Mr. Sean Rais. He will not only impact your organization, but he will elevate your team to another level.
When you change you, when you put you into the equation, the whole system is different. I guarantee you, you got the right thing. You are the right person. If you can present yourself in the best way possible, there's no negotiation.
His energy is infectious, and I have so many takeaways from the presentation that I can't wait to get started and implement them today to see the result.
When I think of brand you, I think of being your best self, your most authentic. The reason why we were able to crush business, absolutely dominate in business without having the marketing list, without having the email huge list, without having the Facebook ads and the advertising budget, without knowing the algorithm. The reason we were able to do this is because I branded myself. I told my authentic story and I was comfortable in my skin. Why? Because it was that time in the world where everything was shifting. It was 2020, March. So you remember what happened during that time. It was like the world was coming to an end. So you didn't have anything to hold back. So I chose to give everything that I had and be everything that I am. And because I was that, because I branded me, because I was authentic, everything shifted. And people wanted more. And they wanted to know more about me and how they could become more comfortable in their skin. Listen, guys, when you brand you and not what you do, you're gonna add a 0 to the world, but you'll also add a 0 to your revenue. Let's grow. I said Sean Rye East. I'm proud. I said Sean Rye East. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and you know, game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes. All right, guys. So me and Bobby on the back end just kind of chopping it up. And I just said, like, everybody wants what comes after the book. Everybody wants the speaking. Everybody wants the coaching. Everybody wants 7 figures. Everybody wants what comes after the book. But very few people, very, very few people have what it takes to complete what they start.
Let's go. Like, Coach, that's exactly what I was thinking about. Let's go. That's exactly what I was thinking about. So there are 2 military bases that you can train on. You've got Parris Island, where I trained on, and then you've got the one in California, and that's the San Diego Depot. I believe that's what they call it, the Depot. But you've got Parris Island and the Depot. Now, the interesting thing about both of these places is you can see at certain, like, depending on where you are in your training, you can see the civilian world from your barracks room or from the range. You can see streets. You could make a break for you can make it. This isn't prison. There aren't any barbed wires. There's no electric fences. Like, you can make it. So here's the thing. When you go in to recruit training, you begin to get empowered by the environment. Like, I really want to create something for you, because a lot of us, including myself, like a few years ago, like, I went through Marine Corps boot camp, but when you're going through things, you don't always know the value of what you're experiencing because you're too busy hurting. You're too busy surviving. You're too busy trying to get through. So it took me getting into Branded Like a Leader, the community, leaving the community and coming back to understand what boot camp, the power of it, to realize the community and the power of it. So guys, please get your pencils out, pens out. I work in finance. I use pencils a lot. I know Sean uses pens, right? But I'll get your utensil because I'm about to give you, man, beam them up, Scotty. Pretty much. I'm about to give you the keys as I see them. So assimilation creates transportation and teleportation. Assimilation creates teleportation. Now, when you get into a community like the Marine Corps, I want to paint a picture for you guys because sometimes we need to be able to see it. Like we have a problem, we just can't see how it actually works. So we think we can get something done. We like to think I can become a Marine by reading about them. Huh? We like to think I can be just as good, just as lean, just as mean by watching movies. No. All right. Let me walk this through. You come out of your world as a civilian and you're thrown onto a bus. Once you get thrown onto this bus, you are starting to be shipped. Once you're shipped, you get to this place called the Yellow Footprints. The Yellow Footprints are the footprints that no one will ever forget that's ever successfully made it through the United States Marine Corps boot camp. It is the first thing that you step foot on before the rest of your life changes. That was onboarding for me into Branded Like a Leader. I will never forget sitting at the gas station with the light over my head, slightly dimmed, and a man on the other side of the screen in a white shirt and a red tie telling me that if you so choose to change the rest of your life, this could be the first day of it. And I said, let's work. That's the Yellow Footprints. Okay, once you get on the Yellow Footprints and you start to go through this thing, here's what happens next. And what I need you all to understand is that if you are leaving the workforce, ladies and gentlemen, if you're trying to figure out how to create your own economy, how to be the sun, how to make money, like real money, and leverage your expertise, education, and experience to demand your share of the marketplace, like you're pretty much going from civilian and becoming a Marine. You're going from W-2 employee and becoming a master of your economy. Now, this is how it happens in the Marines. We get off the Yellow Footprints, and what we start to see is a lot of people that look like us. Right now, you might not be in a room at all. You might be by yourself, YouTube University. You don't see anyone that looks like you going through what you're going through. In boot camp, it sucks to get yelled at, but there's some solace seeing someone else get yelled at too. Like you're getting yelled at, but you know that they're getting yelled at too. And what happens is no one person is getting yelled at the same time. So that means there's one person that's in the thick of it, but they're not getting yelled at. So when you're getting yelled at, you look at that person and you say, I can do it. I can do it. And then when that person's getting yelled at and you're getting a break, they look at you and they say, I can do it. I can do it. Who are you looking to saying you can do it when the times get tough if you're not in a community? If you're not in the environment, the bills start coming in, the invoices start coming in, you don't know what to do, and you look around and all you see is the beating and the bruising of you. There's no one you have to look to say, oh, snap, they're going through the same thing and they're making it. So now hopelessness begins to set in. So the first thing that we do in the Marine Corps, and I'm not going to be able to give you guys the whole thing for the sake of time, but I really just want to show you guys this. Like the first thing we do is we call home and we have a script and we say, Mom, I made it safely. I have XYZ. They took XYZ. You'll see me in 12 weeks. I will not be able to communicate with you for the next 72 hours. You will get a letter from me in the mail within the next 7 days. Goodbye. Boom. And you hang it up. You got like 20, 30 seconds. It's a script. Read the script and get out the way. And the next person is coming through and they're funneling you in. So what this is this is saying, hey, you got to say goodbye to everything you used to know. Everybody, they say, I'm your daddy now. Like that's it. That's how it is. Like I'm your daddy now. And it's not in a derogatory way. It's like I'm your parental guidance. I'm the one that's going to take care of you. I'm going to feed you. I'm going to discipline you. I'm going to correct you. I'm your daddy now. Say goodbye to home plate. They don't exist here. and then you move on to the next thing. So here's the next thing that happens. Next thing that happens is you shave your head. So you get from there, and I'm talking, it's midnight. You can't see nothing. You're tired, you're hungry, they don't care. They're like, sit in this chair, and all you can hear is zzz, zzz, zzz. That's all you hear. These guys, they don't care. They don't care. Like, people be, okay. I can say this. I can say people will have little gashes in their heads. There'll be a little bit of blood. It's like, because these guys know that the next bus is coming. These barbers, they don't care. They're not here to make you feel good. They're not shaping you up. They're like, shut up. Here's some alcohol. They smack it on your head. They don't even rub you up. This is not an experience. This is a doggone. So once you get through and tie it back to your experience right now, you need a wake-up call. You need a reality check. You need to know that going from a employee to an entrepreneur is going to require a level of uniformity and identity that you currently do not have. So what you have to do is you have to be assimilated so that you can be teleported. So as I tie this up, because again, I can't give you guys the whole thing, I'll give you this last piece so that you can just see the brand's role in my life and my development. So once you get your head shaved, here's something that's very miraculous. You see what we call first phase, second phase, and third phase. First phase, they've been there for 4 weeks. Second phase, they've been there for 8 weeks. Third phase, they've been there for 12 weeks. Inside of the community, this looks like branded like a leader, leadership leverage, HPC. And then you've got drill instructors that might be in a higher level, right? But the reality is this: I can see you. I might not be in your same platoon, but I know you've been here as long as me. So if I can see you, I know what I can look like. So now I have all of this confidence to keep going. And when I know that somebody else went through it and got through it, and they're just as ugly as me, they were just as skinny as me, like they're shaved guys, their heads are bald too. They look like me. And I know that everybody's struggling. Everybody's suffering. Nobody's talking to their mama. Nobody's got a girlfriend. Nobody's got a boyfriend. Everybody's suffering together. And we look mean, green, lean, and we every day. And there's something about that. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, because it's hard out here by yourself. It's harder. It's real hard, you know, but it don't have to be that hard, because camaraderie creates a energy of it's something you can't explain. And again, I'm coming from a military standpoint, but the reason I'm here to this day still is because of that. But I'm sorry, Coach.
No, not at all. That was beautiful, man. That was beautiful. And camaraderie, it brings forth a force. It is a collective force, and it is an individual force. Because the wolf who's been a part of a pack takes the pack with them everywhere they go. And there's nothing like being a part of a pack, because listen, even a lion, the king of the jungle, by themselves are food. Same time, same place. Let's grow.